Hey, it's Lance20 Saturday night.
And I'm Evan.
And today we're going into Grock Talk number 9 or 6.
Bottom text.
What is that? We're going to be covering a few topics. The Guardian XO is a real-life suit of power armor that the airport is getting. Which airport? You got to watch this to know. The next is going to be Heroforge 2.0 is finally making color into their 3D printed models, and it's pretty cool. We're talking about Starfinder finally getting some of those pre-painted minis sometime this year. And then, of course, The Mandalorian, because it's the biggest thing since music, or the burning of the Library of Alexandria. We're going into the first part of the Guardian XL. The airport, the Salt Lake International Airport, is going to be getting a suit of power armor of their own. There's a few cool things with it, a couple things that I'm not too jazzed about. One thing that I'm not too jazzed about, it does have a price tag of $100,000 a year. So if you're like me in crippling debt, or if you just can't spend $100,000 a year on something, you're going to be out of luck here. You're not going to be able to afford one of the things the airport has.
Yeah, you can take a mortgage out on a lease.
Take a mortgage out on the lease, so you don't get to own it for $100,000. Basically, you get to borrow it from them. They're going to do all the maintenance and upkeep on it. But you will be able to do everything from augment your strength, lets you lift up to 200 pounds with relative ease, just like with feeling nothing. There's different options for how much it does augment your strength, and it looks like the cargo loader from Starfinder or Ripley's P5000 power battle harness he gets, but a lot smaller and cooler in sci-fi. So it's finally becoming the future, and how we have, basically a font of all of life's knowledge in something that costs about $80 with a smartphone, or a very heavily censored version of it if you're living in China. But China don't have YouTube, so there's also self-driving cars. Private companies are sending people to Mars. So yeah, the future's finally coming, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, what's also funny is, like in the video, a couple things. You control it with your phone. Like, you can say how much you want your strength augmented, because it's like, all right, so let's do it by this much. And then you can just plug your phone, and that's the computer for it.
The powered armor app.
Yeah, but also what's hilarious is the fact that the lady in the video was like, so you see in sci-fi there's a lot of military use for these things. Is this gonna be a military kind of thing that's gonna be used? And he's like, no. Kind of like this scientist who was caught doing something evil. And it's like, no, there's no tactical use for this. Yes, a lot of the early research and funding was given to us through the military, but this is a peaceful piece of technology.
Peaceful missiles onto a harness that he has.
Oh yeah, because all the heavy things he was lifting was watch him use this to lift a missile, or carry boxes of ammunition, or CIA crack cocaine to disperse to lower income areas.
Yeah, areas like mine. They're poor. But anyway, yeah, it's gonna be super cool. It's funny because it's also kind of like the chest harness that's on it to keep from falling forward. It kind of looks like the Gears of War Silverback in a way. It has those two big stereo things on the front looking sort of ordeals. So a big old Dorkosaurus like us made it?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I know where it is, because I looked up online because I really wanted to see if I could buy one because it'd be super cool. But yeah, it's Wakara Way, so it's at the University of Utah, and yeah, it's a Utah thing. We're making power armor.
Yeah, what do you got?
LA, you've got. Yeah, you got people shitting in your streets.
Heroforge 2.0, you're finally able to 3D print your minis in color, which is pretty cool because it's really customizable. You can determine what part of it is on there, what color it's gonna be, what the texture of it will be, and you already get a lot of customization with Heroforge. There's grillings of different options as far as armor and races and things like that. You can make anything from the quintessential friggin' paladin, or a space biker with a Mysterio helmet. You can already do a lot, and now you can also choose color. This is kind of bleeding a little bit, or taking a little bit away from some of the commission painters' pockets, is the main gripe I've seen about it on the Twitters and whatnot. But you were looking at a few things about this, right?
Yeah, because the whole thing they're doing now is they're doing it through through Kickstarter. And what's really nice is right now, you can choose, you can really optimize each of the parts of the mini you're gonna have. So on top of having you're saying a space biker with Mysterio helmet and a wizard staff, you can choose what it's going to be painted. If you want like a gradient, you can choose if the paint style should be something like, this should kind of look like fur or metal or what have you. And it looks really nice because you can go through and it's not just like, I don't know, if you're playing like Warhammer Winter Assault, where you can sort of choose, okay, so this area is going to be slided like this. You can choose individual things. I know for the big flagship piece they were having, it was someone with like angel wings.
Yeah,
and you could, and just like, oh yeah, you could choose like if it's going to be, this feather's going to be red, this feather's going to be blue, or for like a gradient or something like that. You can have the computer do that, which is like a mid-tier level of like a mid-tier paint job. But then the highest thing they have is they still have commission painters. So if you still want someone who's really good at it, you could have it done through them. And unlike when you're going to like Fiverr or something like that for a commission painter, you don't need to send them like a whole book saying, okay, I want this like this and this like this. They can just look and see, oh, this is exactly what they want done. And because it is through a company, there is probably going to be a lot more quality control or just more accountability. Unlike you were telling me you had some bad experiences where you had some people pre-paint some stuff for you and they're like,
oh yeah, so like when I went on Fiverr a while ago, which is weird because it costs about the same if you were to do it there, but if you bring a Bones Mini to Fiverr and send out to somebody to have them paint it, and you'll get a lot of things where if you ask for certain details to be painted in and they won't do it, and they just forget to do it or what have you, like what happened with my experiences there, they just say, well, I already have your money, you already have everything, no refunds or anything like that. Since this is backed by a larger company who wants to save their face and things like that, you'll get charged less. Another thing that I've noticed is if you have the cost of a Heroforge Mini, which is like about, if you use the premium plastic, about maybe $30-ish with shipping and handling, all that jazz, and then you have them painted as well, which is, I think it's like it's each computer painted Mini is about $60-$70. That turns out to being just the cost of the mid to higher tier commissioned paint jobs, where it's like anywhere from like $60 to $80 to $100. And so the price turns out to being about the same there with that. You know the quality that you're getting because it is a mass production, and it just seems like you'll be getting it. You'll also be able to get it out faster too because it's printed and colored at the same time. With you getting a lot of commission jobs, you'll have to wait until they finish painting it, which is obvious, and then for them to get in the mail, for them to send it back to you, for them to put their own artistic flair on and all that other stuff. I have seen a few people complaining, oh, this is going to take into our profit margin and things like that. But what I see as the consumer end of this, it's going to cut off the middle section where a lot of people are putting really exorbitant prices, like an $80 to $100 paint job on a miniature, and they're not doing an $80 to $100 paint job worth of work. As I've seen happen a few times, like there was a few that were looking at Pinterest, which looks like something I've done decent quality before, but it's going to winnow the playing field to really make sure that people who are really good at painting minis and whatnot, make sure that they shine, and giving a good middle ground to the people who don't need such a flashy job. Yes, it's a flashy job done.
Mm-hmm. So, but then also, on the other hand, for people, it's like, oh, it's going to cut into our margin. Let's say it's something where you need a whole bunch of different little Mortys painted, and you want something more than just, I'm going to dip this in a paint of a Noon shade oil and call it a day. Yeah. If you need like a whole bunch of little guys painted, and you don't need something too crazy, you can. There's still those guys where you just send them a handful. It's like, hey, paint these so they kind of look.
Yeah. With this, I do see that the quality of them, it's not quite one-to-one with the human touch in a lot of cases, so you might just have to dip yours in some shade or touch up an area, but that seems like
leave it in shade oil overnight.
No.
That's how you gotta leave. And also, never thin your paints, kids. If someone tells you to thin your paints, they're not your friend, and they're probably a lizard person.
Yeah, so listen to this guy for painting advice. But so anyway, it's coming out sometime this year. You can get onto the Kickstarter early, just like with the link to the Guardian XO Power Armor, because damn, Power Armor's going out. We're also going to be leaving a link to Heroforge's 2.0 Kickstarter in the description down below. So give it a look, especially if you have a character that you really love and that you want to hold on to, or that's something that you're really excited to play. It's a splurge purchase. It is. It's like $60 or $75, but so is getting a commission painting, so it turfs out. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Starfinder Battles minis. Sometime coming out this year. What month this year? But it's going to be made by WizKids, the same people who make the Pathfinder Battles minis. And so you know what quality that you're going to get. And finally, you're going to see some of the just insanity monsters from the Alien Archives be put in little plastic form. Like
the Squid Boys?
Yeah, like the Squid Boys, the Void Monsters, Sean, all of them going to be put inside of, finally, those little $5 plastic impulse boxes that you buy every time you're at your local gaming store there for that. I'm pretty excited about this because it also gives more minis than just the 10 or so that are available in the icons that were made when the game first came out.
Yeah, because there's only like the 5 there, and there's like a couple spaceships, but it'll be nice to have more minis than just that, just so it's not like, okay, well, we're doing vehicle combat, so I'm going to bring out this Gravedigger Hot Wheel.
And, I'm going to take my kid's Hot Wheel.
Or if you're doing spaceship stuff, it's like, well, I'm going to do...
You can get by with Starship Combat just by using like a Star Wars starships or a Star Trek ships. You could also get by like to some degree with just using the Star Wars minis game that came out that was around 2007. As long as you're not using like the icons of the heroes or anything.
Using
like
the X-wing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like just for like peak like person minis, you can sort of get by with just using like not Plo Koon, but like just random characters, like just random boys, like friggin' Dengar or something like that.
Dengar's a legend. He's top tier. Like, it goes Dengar and everyone else.
Dengar, the Emperor, Dengar again, and then everybody else.
Dengar's everywhere.
But yes, you can certainly get by with using this like random like no-name Rhodians and things like that, or Trandoshans, or random mercenaries they had. But finally, Starfinder is going to come out with Starfinder Battles minis sometime in 2020, hopefully sooner rather than later. And once they come out, we'll update you guys, because we're also going to... I'm going to give a box away as soon as they come out. Hold me to that.
I'll probably eat a box.
So the next thing we wanted to talk about, your weirdo, was The Mandalorian Season 1. By the way, spoilers, if you haven't already seen The Mandalorian Season 1, we're going to be talking about a few things from a few of the highlights from that series. So don't turn this off, still watch, but just be sad about the spoilers, because you saw it by now. It's been done for like a week.
Yeah, it's
like a day.
It's been more than that. It's
been out for a bit. So one thing I thought was kind of cool on there. Well, you talk about it.
So yeah, I really liked how there's the Darksaber. How when Gideon had that, which cool name by the way, gave him like a real intense name. When he fell out of his jet at supersonic speed, well, it's a TIE fighter, but he's basically going supersonic jet speed, crashed to the ground, and then he's like, cut out of it. And he's like, oh, damn you, Mandalorian, I'll get you next time.
I'm truly excited to see how he got the Darksaber, whether he got it from Sabine or one of the other Mandalorians that had it, or how he actually got his hands on the Darksaber, because it's supposed to be around the same time that Star Wars Rebels is sort of floating around doing its own thing. Well, no, actually, it's supposed to be sometime... Yeah, so a little bit after Star Wars Rebels, because Vader is still alive during Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah, there's a lady named Sabine, Speeve.
Sabine?
Yeah, she's a man. The girl, Some Beans. She has a Darksaber in there, so I'm wondering how she got that. Or exactly what happened to them. Din Djarin, he doesn't seem like the best dad in town ever, so what's going to happen with Baby Yoda now that he's been using the Force a bit more to choke out that one lady who was beating his daddy in an
arm wrestling contest?
Yeah, arm wrestling contest.
Killing a space rhino with your endangered species.
Yeah, getting very excited every time
his dad kills someone.
Yeah, so I'm thinking one thing that might happen as The Mandalorian is that there's going to be some Force either, whether it be Jedi or Sith or somewhere in between, will feel this growing mote of what seems to be dark side energy, because he gets really excited anytime he starts to notice anybody die. Will sense this dark side entity growing and either go to dispatch it, seeing it as a potential rival or another emperor-like figure growing, and it's like, oh, it's just a baby, so yeah, or oh, it's just a baby, I'm going to take this thing in and teach it how to use the Force, and maybe that'll be in Season 2.
Yeah, it's also really... I really like how they keep doing that Star Wars thing where it's like, oh, remember that thing that was huge? 50 years ago, which is well within many creatures' lifetime, especially the creature that lived for like hundreds of years. Remember, when there was magic people all over the news, they were bigger than music, they were in high places of government and extremely well documented. Grandma, you fought in the Clone Wars. Oh yes, times of myth and legend, ancient warriors or sorcerers, but no one knows what they are now. Also,
it's gonna kind of be like how when your guys, I haven't kids, but it's gonna be like when your grandkids, like your children's children, are like, oh yes, listen to this classic music from Waka Flocka, or this really old song, bend over, make your knees touch your elbows. It's sort of like that, or it's 20, 50 years at max if we're talking Clone Wars era, and they're already speaking about it in times of myth and legend.
Yeah, it's
going to be interesting to see how the greater galaxy does deal with like Force users or Jedi and Sith, like whether there'll be just random cultists who are letting their in-church civil war dominate the galaxy, or if they'll even know what's going on with that. I'm assuming the Mandalorian might know more, and so will the Republic shock trooper, that lady who got choked real hard.
Strong lady.
Oh yeah, Jessica. How Jessica will sort of have to deal with how they'll interact with a potential new, actually established Force user if they do go that route. Or maybe how Baby Yoda is going to learn its Force powers on its own. And
also, is he going to name the Baby Yoda? Because I know it's the internet's calling it Baby Yoda. The show is calling it the Child, which
that's its name, Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
it
seems like Din Djarin would just be like, I'm going to call you Space God, or I'm going to call you Little
Green.
I'm going to call you Dende.
Yeah. Are they going to find the planet? Because I know it was truly one of Lucas's wishes to name the planet and the race of
everything.
Scott, of the baby.
Well, no, because he never wanted. He was like, no, he's a magic little mystery man. He shows up, he does some shit, and then he fucks right off because he's a little mystery. You'll never know anything. And they tried making some lore books where it's like, yeah, here's what his name is. And Lucas basically did a Hillary Clinton where the guy was like found he's like, oh man, he committed suicide by shooting himself 3 times in the back of the head with a 12 gauge.
Jeez, is that what happened?
Basically.
Oh, well.
No, that's just a prank.
Nah. Yeah, Lucas killing that guy was a prank. By the way, Evan says that George Lucas is a murderer, and he has people killed. That was from him, not me, though. But yeah, so that's what basically, that's a little bit of the Mandalorian that's going on. There's a few other mysteries and whatnot that haven't been solved. Yeah, don't care about that. Anyway, thanks for watching 20 Saturday Night, and bye for now.
Bye.
Hey you rascals, thank you for watching our video. Click here to subscribe, click here to watch one of our newer videos, and click here if you feel like watching something random. Have a good day.
I'm not real. 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 I'm not real.